Hello, everyone. This is Tijen Genco, Master Certified Coach and Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach. You are tuned into Coaching with Mastery and Elegance with Tijen Genco. And I have such a pleasure and joy hosting my beautiful friend and masterful coach, Nathalie Ducrot here. Welcome, Nathalie.
Well, so happy, Tijen, to be part of this masterpiece with you and to see your bright smile and welcoming energy.
Thank you, Natalie. It's always such a joy to be in your presence. And this is one of those special episodes that, we discuss the mastery in coaching. And today we are going to dive into the mysteries in mastery. And before we get into that, Natalie, how would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, well, I've reoriented my career from being a CEO in a company to coaching because I really discovered coaching kind of randomly, and it was an immediate fall in love moment, this kind of moment you really know this is the one thing I want to do. So, and since then, it was almost 20 years ago, I have developed my practice, well, through credentialing with ICF, EMCCs, and different coaching bodies. But I have been passionate about both serving the profession and serving my clients. So up to the master level. And then you've got to reflect. You're not there on a plateau. You're there to discover new things. So that is my passion. And I am mostly coaching leaders and focusing on leadership impact, effective communication, essential motivation in different organizations. I am based in Geneva, Switzerland. So we've got lots of ONGs, international companies, UN agencies. I'm collaborating with many of those kind of sponsors and partners.
Beautiful. And in many languages, right?
Well, many, I would not say this, but I'm coaching and practicing in French and English. I guess all your audience have noticed that I'm not a native English speaker and that I'm French. Everybody can hear it. I'm speaking a little bit of German, Spanish, Italian, but I'm not working in those other languages. So I'm still reasonably with two languages. In this Switzerland, we are having four languages. So by definition, we are multilingual and multicultural.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you for that introduction, Natalie. So you're not as only a strong practitioner, as you shared with our audience, but also a mentor and an ICF assessor. You're serving in a lot of the volunteer work that we do within ICF to develop resource materials for the community. And so in your view, from all those aspects, and also including your multi-cultural point of view, how do you define mastery in coaching?
Well, that's a deep question to explore, actually. But in a nutshell, in this moment, I would say that it requires basically lots of knowledge, lots of training, lots of hours of trainings, lots of hours of practice. And from my own experience and from the one I'm noticing with my mentees or supervisors, um, it's kind of a switch from doing coaching at your best, honoring the functionality of the competencies, reaching the MCC level, is kind of switching from doing coaching from being a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's including something about your whole being and the being of your client and sponsor, having a global view within the system as well.
Lovely. So in your point of view, which also came in some other discussions, but you're really highlighting and emphasizing, is the coaching presence, coach-like presence in the partnership and relationship. At this level, that the competencies and skill sets becomes much more in the background and infuses through your being into the relationship.
Yeah. And this is the reason why we had this conversation about connecting mastery and mystery at some point, because masterful coaching is not about I know it all. It's much more something like kind of the opposite. I don't know what I don't know. And starting from this possibility of switching from what is to what could be that we don't know yet.
That's lovely. One of my niche is about the achieving highest human potential. And the way I describe that, it's not about the actions, but what is the seed of potentiality that we are born with and we have yet to potentialize. And when I'm mentoring, my students often say that, oh, I don't know, I don't like the unknown. But the thing is that the known is already expressed and experienced potential. Unknown potential needs to be yet to be explored. So that's what I'm thinking as I hear you. And how do you then emphasize? I mean, we started getting into that discussion already. And you also mentioned about the coaching being when the mastery starts to be experienced. How do you think that the one embodies that sort of a relationship, welcoming relationship to the mystery?
Multiple ways and multiple moments, I would say. Sorry. I'm under COVID, as you know, sorry.
No worries.
There is something related to anticipating, being ready for the unknown. We are human beings. We love certainty. We love being in our comfort zone. So it has to be intentional to step into the unknown and to be crystal clear about that. We start a conversation with the client, and that's a blank canvas. We've got to co-create something together. And then there is this third element within the coaching relationship and within the coaching conversation. That is co-creating the space where we can be co-sensing, co-reflecting. And there is no way to know everything in advance. It would make no sense. The beauty is exactly as you said, having the consciousness deep inside the seeds, which I'm rather calling it the source. But it's letting it emerge in the conversation, but not only through the conversation. It could also emerge through the body sensation, and I know you are an expert in this domain, through the energy level,
Mm.
through the imagination, what we envision for the future. So that is about letting things happen.
Mm. What a lovely way. When I'm hearing you, Nathalie, I'm getting this image. When I was visiting India, there were some of the temples that I visited, and they were so beautifully structured. The architecture I was so in love with. And one almost needed to prepare the self to enter with that reverence. And that's what I'm getting, that the way you were saying, one needs to be prepared, right? How do we prepare ourselves to meet the unknown, meet the, as you calling potential source, and I'm calling the potentiality in seed. And sometimes I say, how do we partner with the universe, right? There is that, the fourth element.
Yeah.
So, I can think about some of the ways that I do, which is I say a prayer, let there be no me, but whatever needs to come to and through me with the intention to serve the client, to do that. So what that is one of my way. But how do you prepare the self from your point of view, meeting with the unknown?
Again, there are in my practice different moments. There are moments for what I call deep and hard work, which is about reflexive practice, which is about how do I prepare? What's happening to me when I'm considering this client, this new challenge, this new mystery, and letting things be. Sometimes there is some anxiety. I mean, sometimes it could be fear. So, what are you doing with what is to let what could be emerge? So, there is some kind of muscle. I love this quote who is saying, knowledge is only a myth until it's in your muscles. So, you got to practice those rituals of presence, being ready for embracing paradox, for embracing one thing and the opposite, for letting the synchronicity happens in the moment. So you've got to train yourself with navigating those uncertainties and to be open and to create a safe container for this to happen for the client. You need to be ready, but trained, properly trained. But it requires as well some, what I love to call now, the natural human AI, which is the acronym for attention and intention. Exactly as you enter your temple and you are ready to be in a new experience, to be fresh and embrace the moment, it has to be intentional. Yet it has to be all related with noticing what is for you as a whole and noticing what is for the client as a whole and embracing the container. Love it the way you call it, the universe. This is the word I'm using with my clients. I would not dare to say, I love your divine part, which is something that I deeply believe in. But this is my personal story. I'm not bringing my word into this space. I want to make it as big as possible. And sometimes this is a question that I'm asking my clients in. What is the greater whole for you? What do you think you belong to? And then we stay with this concept, image, approach. Could it be a religion? Could it be a social system? Could it be so many things? And the mystery is there, just meeting the client where he or she is, and that's all a new world opening for you.
Mm, beautiful. I was thinking that I think I don't know how it is for you, but in general, I think we are some places in our lives that we welcome the unknown, and some places it's like, no way, there's you're not coming in here, right? And one of the gifts or inherent skills that I have is to I love wondering, discoveries. That's one of my passion, and I also love childlike humor. So I tap into those qualities within me to prepare into maybe the unknown where I don't feel as comfortable just yet to enter into. So, what actually would you like to say about that, and what techniques that you have used to develop, as you said it, your muscles in your dance with mystery?
The idea that you're bringing in, one of my favorite is Alice in the Wonderland. So I love this childish energy.
Yes.
Sometimes with some leaders, with their rigors, with their pressure, with all the things they got in their head and shoulder, you know, so much heaviness. This is something I'm asking permission to bring in the room. So to make it very explicit at the very beginning. And then I'm listening deeply to my energy level and my emotion, and I'm using, and body sensation as well, and I am using them to start a discussion with the client. Like, for those who are really used to work with partners and sponsors, actually the coaches that are sent to us start with having chemistry session with 1, 2, 3 different coaches, pretty much similarly equipped, credential, high level. I had a recent experience with the massive guy, 2 meters high, really huge. And he insisted to come at my place to meet in presence in my office. And he was really rude, banging the doors. And at some point in the conversation, he told me, and I hope you're not French, by the way. We were speaking in English because he was from Europe, but not a French speaker. And I had to say, well, actually, I'm happy to share our different cliches around what it means to be French and what it means to be Dutch. Actually, it was Dutch. And and then I was about sure he would never work with me, actually. He would never choose to work with me because instead of being serious with him, I can play the fool and use humor and use this kind of creativity, bubbling energy, being totally conscious that I was doing totally at the opposite of his profile. It was really like this, and I was convinced he would never work with me. And then I was confirmed that I've been chosen as his coach, which was a surprise, a complete mystery, saying, wow, actually, I wonder why. I'm so curious to hear more. Yes, and the time was ticking, and the more I was getting close to the moment he would enter my office, I felt some more than anxiety, some kind of deep fear. And we had some first discussion around his objective. That was something about public speaking, that was about executive presence, leadership style, all this kind of generic stuff about outcomes and objectives. And when it was really the time for him to come, I felt deeply this fear. And I decided to dare starting this very first coaching session with this saying, well, I'm really curious to hear from you. What makes you choose me as your coach? But before we get there, may I share something that is really happening for me in this moment? And I dared to say, I feel terrified. I feel emotionally terrified. With my head as a coach, I'm mastering this fear. I'm just noticing what's happening for you, for me in this moment. And it has been a wonderful insight because he said, you know what? I think this is what is happening with my peers, team members, and even the senior leadership. So we touched something at the very start of the conversation that was pure mystery, actually. But I think it's related somewhere to mastery as well, because you need to be prepared to be at the same time caring and daring.
That's a wonderful and very insightful share. Thank you, Nathalie. I call a holistic listening, right? If we only respond to the mind, then we miss a lot of the information. What you're bringing forward that I teach in my neurologic and somatic approach to coach training, to listen with our system in its entirety and respond from that way, to invite into the unspoken. I'm sure client is also receiving, but do they know how to receive and acknowledge that? And so what you're saying in the mastery and relationship to the mystery, that the coach needs to be able to utilize their instrument as a vessel to receive and present it at a way that can be understood and acknowledged by the client. What a wonderful share. Yeah, thank you. And other image that came to me that I often relate to the mermaids, you know, in the myths, that they're known to be seducing the people, guiding them with their siren, but also seducing them into the depths of the oceans, right? So there needs to be some level of seductive invite into the mystery. I also
Wow. I love it, Tijen. I'm going to think about it actually. Yes, there is some part. Well, and if I go to the technicity of coaching and some psychodynamics approach, and we are there with what you're sharing with this, there is a lot to learn from psychodynamics as well, and the phenomena of transference and countertransference for sure. So there is a lot to know with your head in terms of mastery and in terms of mystery to be completely genuine with the use of self as an instrument as a whole. I think this is it, including the wonderland and the creativity and crazy stuff that people could, for sometimes, for some of them, the first time feel allowed to visit within themselves, which is just magic.
Yeah, and that our ability to create that safe space to explore, right? If we're freaking out as a coach, then they are not gonna get in there. And I think that is also what you said made me think that we can learn analytic ways, intellectual ways, but when it descends into embodiment of the wisdom, that often being expressed through the heart. So I think in mastery and mystery journey, we need to descend into the heart and the body and respond. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, Natalie, how did your life and your journey, you started in the beginning explaining your prior profession as the executive of an organization. How did your life prepared you into this stage, being a mysteryful and masterful coach?
Um, I think again we are coach and we are human being, and the essence of humanity is wired into mystery. So I guess that all what happened to me, even the worst, actually I've been through some grief process several times, and you've got the feeling you will never recover. And you go deep down in the curve of grief, in the when you can exclusively be crying and being sad and accepting what is. And it takes a while to develop this knowledge about something better is coming.
Mm.
And the image I have related to my life is um, waiting for the rainbows to arrive.
Not other shoe to drop. That's beautiful.
And the beauty with rainbows is that they are not appearing. We don't see them, but they are there. They
Mm.
are already there. So being prepared to see the rainbows, I think this is what life has taught me through some very difficult pitfalls.
Mm. I appreciate that, and I can relate to that. And I think there is that, in a way, those challenges through the tunnel, right? Through the dark woods, we get into the light. That also is a training and initiation
Yeah,
into the unknown in a way, right? Spiritual journey into our unknown that I could tell from my experience helped me in my
yeah,
dance with the unknown. That
yeah, yeah. And what comes to my mind right now, and I think that is worth sharing with your audience, because I've been in the coaching community since quite a while. I've been really passionate to volunteer, to contribute. I became the ICF president for Switzerland for a few years. I've been, as you said, investing my time in different piece of
Mhm.
work as a subject expert matters. So I had the gift to meet so many wonderful people. You're part of them, Tijen, actually. And um, many of us, just like other human beings, but we've transcended our sufferings into some presence, learning, um, discovery abilities,
Mm.
capabilities that we've enhanced our self-awareness, self-understanding, our consciousness. And once a human being, and coaches are very often there, and the one I'm still knowing at a deep level, mentees or supervisors, they come from this place, and that makes me think of these Japanese um, bowls that are repaired with gold,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
and when they are broken, they become even more precious afterwards.
Yes. Beautiful, right? That's what I often say when people don't know what their niche is. I say, whatever brought you down to your knees is your niche. Because
Yeah,
when you,
love it.
right?
Yeah,
Isn't that the truth? That's where the power lies. This has been such a magical and a wonderful discussion with you, Natalie. Anything else comes into your mind about this mastery and mystery content that we have yet to speak about that you wish to share as we bring this to conclusion?
Yeah, well, I do remember a time when, as a new coach, I was really willing to know it all, to be in this mastery, or, oh, there would be a moment when I would know it all. I would feel comfortable with any conversation, with any kind of clients, any situation. I now refrain myself from this feeling. So I would love to invite maybe younger coaches or newbies in the profession to feel at ease with the unknown, with this um, flavor of a good mystery at the corner of the street for them. So I would love to make them be less hard with themselves. I have been really hard with myself, saying, you need to learn more, you need to get there more. Well, being co-sensing, I mean, I so much believe in the power of coaching
Mm.
as a way to develop much more than exclusively your client, but the system at large, the society. I mean, I really believe that we are contributing to a better world, one conversation at a time. So it is worth being happy doing this and feeling gifted to be there.
Beautiful, allowing the self to play.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And recover the treasures under the, wherever the Alice land is. So beautiful. Thank you, Nathalie. And what would you like, if anything, to share with our audience if they would like to find you and engage with you? How would they go about doing that?
Well, maybe to remember one word, my company is called Pro-Optim, literally optimism for professionals. It means for leaders, uh, and teams and organization. I'm also working as an OD, organizational development practitioner, so passionate about culture change as well. And I love coaches. They are my flowers for every day. So if they want to find me for mentoring or supervision, I'm happy to have a conversation.
Absolutely, yes. And certainly, please go ahead and find Nathalie to learn more about playful coaching. Absolutely. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to us. This is Coaching with Mastery and Elegance with Tijen Genco. This is the special Mastery series. And if you like what you heard, consider subscribing to this podcast, to channel, follow us, and to learn more about our upcoming events at gencocoaching.com, visit at Genco Coaching upcoming events. Thank you for being with us today.